Hey everyone, SlyJCool here, and today I'm back with another episode of my 1.18 Let's Play Building with SlyJCool. In this one, you can see we have the cartographer's shop we built up last episode, which was quite fun to do, as well as a few other smaller residential buildings for the peasants who would be working in the fields. In this episode, we're going to work on building up a butcher shop right here. It's going to have a similar design to the other ones, except it's going to be a little bit larger and it's going to have an area for a butcher shop. Also, later in the episode, I'd like to discuss with you guys a fun idea I had that I think will be interesting and could add a bit of lore to this world, where we're actually going to be starting out adding a sort of guild system to our world to make it a little bit more realistic and make a little bit more in-depth economic system. Alright guys, so to start building up this one, we're going to actually go up 3 blocks, which was the same design that we've done on most of the other ones. And I'm going to do a similar one here. However, on this one, what we've been doing with a lot of the buildings is you can see how we only have the stairs coming out on this side. We don't have it getting wider on this side as well. So it steps out 1 block there, but it doesn't step out 1 block there. On this one, I actually thought it would be cooler, and to add a little bit of variation, I decided it probably would be a good idea to try stepping it out on both sides. So we are going to be trying something interesting that we have not tried before. However, unlike the building that we built in the last episode, because you can see this one, we tried out a spruce top to add a little bit of variation. This one's we're going to be going back to calcite, though I'm going to be adding a few other interesting details to try and add variation into this one. So you can see right now the area that we're building up is going to be the bottom floor, and this is the area that we're actually going to have the butcher shop on. So we're going to have a butcher shop right here. We're going to take out that wall, and it's just going to be an area where they could see in and talk to their customers, and then we're going to have a storage area in here. And then on this side, we're actually going to add a stairs coming up to the 2nd floor where the butcher would live, and we can have some stairs going up right there. And I'd also like to include a garden, probably under the stairs in that area. I think that would be cool. And I'm going to just build the stairs, and they'd actually only be living on the 1st floor, and when they want to sell stuff, they'd come down here. Alright guys, I've gotten the 1st floor sort of built up here, and you can actually see the area where I want to build the shop. I'm going to go ahead and break out right here. And what I'm going to do here, rather than a way that we've done everything else before, is I'm going to go across here with stairs. So let's just make sure that's placed in the right direction. And now I'm going to go in with, actually we don't have stairs right now, but afterwards, in a little bit, I'm going to add some deep slate stairs to round it off a bit and make the stall a bit easier to look into. Right now, I'm going around and adding some spruce stairs around here that'll support the spruce log pillars that will hold up the rest of the roof. That tree that we built in the last episode, that might get a bit annoying actually, because I might have to remove that, we'll see. But otherwise, yeah, so we got a pretty good shape going here. Now what I'm going to do is get an axe in this hand and actually go ahead. Let's see if we can parkour our way to the top of this house here. I'm going to head in over here and then start building up some pillars. Let's try switching. There we go. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go in and just do that same pattern all the way around here. Also, something which I'd like to try out with this house, which I don't think I've done on, actually I'm quite sure I haven't done on any of the other ones, is trying to incorporate some other types of foliage into it to make it seem, so number one, we're going to have the garden down there, but also, I'm also going to add in some acacia leaves that they're growing sort of in planter boxes off the windows, which I think will be quite cool to make it sort of seem like not only are they a butcher, but they're also sort of growing things like in a garden and on the planter box. Maybe they're adding like, it's like maybe that's why their meat is so special, because they I don't know, like they add herbs or something into it to make it taste better. I think that's an interesting idea, and it adds a little bit of lore. So I actually headed over to the acacia biome. An acacia biome, it's a ways away, so that it did take quite a bit of time to get to, but that is the area that I headed over to, and I actually got some acacia leaves, which we're going to be using to decorate the house in a bit. I also went in with the texture pack, which custom texture pack that I've been working on for the series, and I edited a few things. Mainly, I went in and added I made the acacia leaves a lot brighter, so they will contrast a bit more, because I think I mentioned that I'd do that a few episodes ago when we were discussing the texture pack, because I think they look dark oak leaves, acacia leaves, and oak leaves all look a bit too similar in my opinion. However, I'm not really going to go in, so I went in and changed acacia leaves. I'm not really going to go in and change dark oak leaves right now though, because we're not really building in that kind of area, but I think that would be a cool area to build in the future because we do have a pretty large dark oak forest nearby. So I will probably be going in and changing that in a little bit. Another thing that I'm going to try and do with this house to add a little bit of variation is instead of making the roof out of spruce, just spruce planks or dark oak planks like we have been before, I'm actually going to go in and do something that I haven't done before, which, or at least not in this village, and I'm going to go in and add bricks as the roof and with a dark oak trim, because I think that could turn out pretty interesting and it'll be a little bit different than the standard house that we have in the rest of the village. Which does mean actually instead of having a brick chimney so that you can actually distinguish the chimney from the roof, I am thinking that we can try and do a stone chimney instead to add a little bit of variation, and because I think it could look pretty nice if we do it right. Yes, hello, I did hear a wandering trader. Let's check what he has. Nothing good. Absolutely nothing good. That's brilliant. However, he's invisible right now, which I suppose we'll wait until the morning before we introduce him to my sword. Either way, because if you guys didn't know an interesting fact, you can actually get night vision potions from wandering traders in Java Edition. I don't believe it's a feature in Bedrock Edition. In Java Edition, there is actually a possibility to get invisibility potions. So now you can have an excuse for killing them, not just because they have terrible traits, but also because you can get invis potions. Hello, llamas. It's time for you to go first because I don't want you to at me. Very unsanitary. And now you're gonna go. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very sorry. Well, I might as well get his head. Although we didn't. Yep. Okay, I'm a wandering trader now. I probably ought to drop some of this stuff in the chest. But yeah, either way, I'm going to probably just finish up building this house off camera because it's going to end up being pretty similar to the rest of the houses. And I've told you guys most of the important details that I'm going to add that's going to make it different from the other ones. And because, and I've shown you the layout. So there isn't really too much other interesting stuff to show you because I know you guys don't find just the building stuff too interesting. So I think I'll just finish it up, show you guys the finished product, and then we'll hop on over into a creative world to talk about my ideas for the guilds. Alright everyone, so as you can see here, I did go in and I finished up the butcher house, and I also did the detailing as well. So we can just do a little tour of what I built. We can start on this side because I think it'll look better, because the cooler looking part at least is on the other sides, and I'd like to finish up with that. So we have, you can see just starting out, these are the acacia leaves that I mentioned that I would bring in right here. They're in little planter boxes to sort of make it look like the butcher is like growing them as like a herbs or sort of something along like the walls and whatnot, because they don't want to have them inside because generally plants aren't, or like large plants aren't the best to have inside. So I thought that made sense. And also if we go back along the little path in here, you can find I added a small little beetroot patch right here with a water source hidden right down there. And this could also go along with the sort of lore backstory kind of thing about the butcher being sort of a herbalist and someone who likes making herbs and also uses them to perhaps make their meat better or something, and that's why they sell a lot of meat or are well known for it. I also decided to go with beetroots rather than carrots or potatoes because we're sort of trying to go with a medieval feel. And wheat, which we have over here, is a plant that was originally, I'm quite sure it was originally only native to Europe. And carrots and potatoes were native to America. Over here, however, beets and beetroots were native to Europe and actually farther to the south in the Mediterranean and that area as well. So that's why I decided to go with beetroots rather than carrots and potatoes. If we build in other areas in the future, I'd like to incorporate some elements from other cultures than just medieval as well. So like perhaps if we go and build in the jungle over there at some point, that would be a good, fun thing to incorporate as well. However, moving on with the tour, if we go up here, we have this little stairway area that goes up to here where I have not done the interior and I actually haven't finished the floor yet. But we have the interior area here And then you can also see the roof, which I made out of bricks, like I mentioned I would, with a dark oak trim to add a little bit of variation. And the reason we don't have, well, we have the stairs out here is because if you go over to this side, you can actually see the shop front is right here. So quite a few details on this side. Number one, we do have some more little planter boxes with acacia leaves, and this one I actually decided to include a dark oak sapling and a dandelion to sort of act as other kinds of greenery that they're growing up there. Over here, yeah, so I spent about an hour building this, and then I went and spent another hour just getting this one block right here, this lovely bell. I really wish they were craftable, but unfortunately you can only find them in villagers. However, moving on from that fun detail, we do have a stone chimney, like I mentioned I do, where we have like the fireplace right here, and then it goes up there. I also decided to include andesite slab at the top, which you can sort of see, polished andesite slab, because it sort of, I thought it added a nice little bit of detail to the top, and then I also added chiseled stone brick right there under it to add another nice little bit of detail. Also, we have this small vendor area. I decided to add candles here instead of lanterns, because this is not this is sort of like starting right here. I was thinking it could be more of an interior area, and I thought it made sense. And what I'm starting to do as I work on the other interiors off camera, actually you can see, so we do have some interiors that I've sort of been working on in here. I've actually decided to include candles on the inside rather than lanterns, because I think it makes more sense to use candles, because those were pretty common in medieval times, and they were, but you wouldn't want to have them outside because the wind or the rain, for example, what's happening right now, would probably extinguish them, and it would just be annoying in general to have them outside. On the inside here, you can see we have two chains holding up like a little block of meat. I was sort of thinking, I went and grabbed some netherrack from the nether because I thought it looked quite a bit like meat, and I think this is a pretty cool detail. I've used it once or twice before, but I wanted to use it again because it is a quite cool detail. I also added some barrels right here in a stack where they could be storing perhaps gold, or like gold that they've been paid for the meat, or maybe they're storing a little bit of meat or salt or something in here, because salt was pretty common for people to use to preserve meat in medieval times. Also, we have sort of, I tried to go for like a sort of a rack where they're keeping like perhaps items or butcher cleaving equipment right up here. Not really sure, maybe it might look better as a ladder right there, but I think a trapdoor sort of accomplishes it somewhat well. On the inside here, we have an area that I was thinking could be more like a sort of cold storage area. So we do have some cobbled deep slate on the floor to make it sort of look like they have stone on the floor, because stone is not, it just sort of reminds me of a cold environment in a cold room. And we have most of the walls are made of stone as well. We also have some more blocks of meat sitting up here in the corner, as well as a barrel, a bunch of barrels right here with another candle on top that can be used for storage of other meats and whatnot. I decided to make it more of a sort of cold storage sieving room, because I figured meat would generally, or raw meat would probably be preserved better that way. It would also make sense if there was a lot of salt back here, which maybe I'll add a salt bucket in the future, because I think that would be a cool detail, because salt was very important, as I mentioned earlier, for preserving meat. However, guys, that's pretty much, oh, actually, we do have another door that just goes back here to the herbalist area, so they could more easily access the top. However, guys, that's pretty much everything for this building, so I think we should hop over into the creative world now to talk a little bit more about the guild system that I mentioned earlier, which also has to do with these currently uncolored banners. Alright everyone, we're over here in the good old build testing world, which home of a tutorial actually, which will probably have come out by the time this video has. So if you're wondering where that's from, this is the world that's from, as well as some other builds that I've been testing. Like, this is the original design for the butcher house, which you can see right here, which I built up in here before building in the survival world. However, the thing that we're looking at in this video is this wall right here of banners. And this is the area where I've been drafting banners. You can see my loom right here and everything, and plenty of dyes. Go to survival inventory, plenty of dyes and banner items in there as well. So I have been working quite a bit on figuring out some banner designs, and that's because there's a system that was pretty common in medieval Europe called the guild system, and it's basically where you have multiple merchants from a specific area, generally, or a city, or I'm thinking in our world it's going to be more of an area, because we're not going to have too big cities that are too big, because I just generally don't like to build those, because it's harder to add a lot of detail when you have really big cities. But it's basically a collection of merchants from this one like area, and they form a guild, which could cause them to get benefits, such as maybe when one of them is not working or like they're sick, they can get filled in for, and the guilds can also ensure that a certain quality comes out of the vendors who are members of it. So it would be good for quality control, which didn't really exist that much back in that time outside of that. So I was going in here and I made some banners for, so this is a dwarven one, which I was just doing in my own time, which because I would like to do some dwarven builds in the future. I think that could be quite cool, especially since it's not a style I see that is too common in Minecraft, or at least not in the idea, like in the style I have in mind. But these three right here are all banners that could be used for guilds of shops we've already done in the world, actually. So the first one is the Butcher's Guild here, where we have this sort of knife pattern on this red banner. The red banner I thought of because, you know, it's a butcher, they're cutting up meat, which is probably going to include blood, so I thought it made sense to have red there. And then a knife, because that's probably their main source that they're using, or maybe, sorry, main tool that they're using to cut up the meat and whatnot. For the Cartographer's Guild, we had quite a convenient banner pattern already in Minecraft, which is the globe, so I decided to include that. We also have a blue to light blue gradient, as well as some gray triangles across the top and bottom, so I thought that was a cool idea for banner for the Cartographer's Guild. And then lastly, this one, which took quite a while to figure out a good design for this one, we have a gradient in the back, and then we have sort of a gray table. I tried to make it look like there was fire in the bottom, because that's one of the main components of a blacksmith, but I also tried to make an anvil, so I'm not sure if you can quite tell it's an anvil from just looking at it, but that is the goal of what it's trying to look like, because that's also quite important for a blacksmith. I'd like to know your guys' feedback on these designs, and I would like to work on incorporating them into the world. I think that would be really cool. And if you have any ideas for the guild system, please tell me, because I would really appreciate getting to hear your ideas, and especially on this, because it's something relatively new. I don't see many people doing it, but I think it would be really interesting, and I think it could be a good way to add a little bit of uniqueness to our world. However, guys, that pretty much wraps up everything from this episode. So we're actually going to be doing an intro in this world for once. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your feedback, especially on this guild system idea, because it's not something I've done before, not something I've seen too many people do before in Minecraft, and I'd really like to know whether you guys think it's a good idea or not. So with that said, I'll see you guys all in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give the video a like, and if you enjoyed my content in general, or especially enjoyed this video, I really appreciate if you would subscribe. Either way, I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.